All right, my team, Kathy and Kanina.
All right.
We're ready when you are. Yep.
Welcome everyone. Yakwe Lenwo Kasililia Ranenim. Mugetin Hapate. No Ali.
Welcome, everyone. Okay, so as we get started, we want to begin with a welcoming protocol from each of our communities. First, we humbly acknowledge the elders, traditional leaders, leaders of the church and government who are with us today and maybe not with us today. Thank you for your presence, your interest in GEM, and your willingness to share with our islets and with us a big part of who you are and your cultures. So let us hear from each of our places, starting with Yap and moving toward to Hawaii. Yap. How do you say hello?
Morgan, I'll let Jen do the outer island version of hello, Morgan.
Sorry, in our language, we don't really have hello or mogitin, but we do have walian where they say walimwemi, meaning welcome, we prepare the way for you. Walimwemi.
Walimwemi. Chuk.
Hello, everyone. I guess I'll be the one doing it since our panelist is hasn't locked on yet. He's having trouble locking on. When I live in the game, tiro yar hipoya molieli holik keple kepahawana hapoyan. So when yami fitike yami mutngeniki ya hipotoni palri fingen lan renile this so.
Pohnpei.
Kasililia mango. At tumal sa karan. Wow. Ang parusiye.
First right.
Hi everyone. Kaksagin Bella. At pain ko was na kayo Lenwo.
Marshals.
Hey, Chuan, what you do?
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Aloha mai kako. Hi everyone. Aloha e na kupuna, na kumu, na opio, e na hoa. Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you. Tirorang, tiropon, tiromatag, tiroahamas. Thank you everyone for the welcoming and hello in our native languages. Okay. Kanita. Kanita is one of our module managers for GEM and is a program specialist with PREL. She's located in Pohnpei. She's going to be my partner in this program today. She is originally from Chaluit Marshall, from a multilingual family of Marcellis, Pohnpeian, Kusrayan. Can I add Chukis?
You can.
And English educators. So she is joining us from Pohnpei. She was born in Tuluit, Marshall Islands, where she was raised in, of course, again, multilingual family. She graduated from Marshall Island High School in Montreal and is a mother to a daughter and 2 young sons. Benita was hired by PREL to be part of the Pacific Islands Climate Education Partnership, PISA, assisting with teacher training and workshops and on newly developed educational resources. In 2017, she became one of the motto managers for the geo-literacy education in Micronesia project, and that's what GEM stands for. Working alongside educators, community elders, youths, and students to research and create products that try to answer the question, how do we read the skies, the lands, and the waters, and how do we learn from those texts in order to make decisions that positively affect ourselves and our communities. Recently, Tanita has been collaborating with Nia Terrell and the Pohnpei Department of Education to implement the Indigenous Learning Recovery Project that will inject community elders in schools and add practical local traditional knowledge and skills into the education system. Everybody, welcome, Tanita.
Kalangan, Kathy. Wow, that was long. So welcome again, everyone. And it is my pleasure to introduce my co-host, Kathy. Kathy Martin is a native of the island of Peace Pano. Am I saying it right? In Chuk, in FSM. And she's a migrant education specialist with PREL. And Kathy's joining us from Guam. You are still in Guam, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a few reminders for our time together. You are welcome to keep your cameras on during the webinar, but please mute yourself if you are not speaking. I know we like to play with those mics. You are welcome to type any questions in the chat. Very, very respectful questions. Not some kind of, you know what I mean. You have logistics questions, you can put in there, and Corinne is our operator, will help you and can help you. She will monitor the chat box. We are also live streaming, so you are on live stream Facebook. If you are following PREL's Facebook page, please feel free to tag others to join us from the live stream, so you can share on the Facebook live stream. Okay. And to start off our webinar series, we want to invite our GEM Principal Investigator, Corinne Harris, to make opening remarks. Welcome, Corinne.
All right. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I just wanted to welcome the group, all of you that are here with us on Zoom and people who are joining us on Facebook. Just thank you so much for being with us today. This is our GEM youth panel. This is the second time we've done kind of a big independent gathering for GEM. There's lots of familiar names and faces. Some of you were on with us in our webinar series last summer. And we heard from many of our islet members, many of our GEM participants. And today we're really focusing on youth. So the young people that were part of the work that we did. We're excited. I know our staff has been looking forward to this, to be able to hear from and learn from these young people that are part of our program and that help to shape the work. Like Kathy said, my name is Corinne Barros, and I'm joining you from my home in Hawaii. I'm in the Ahupua of Waipio. I'm in the Mokupuni of Oahu, on the island of Oahu, in the Pai'aina, the land of Hawaii. So yeah, I'm excited to join my colleagues and our family across the Pacific and around the world. We've got people from all over. I know it's really late for some of you, so thank you for being up and with us. And I want to give a special thank you to our participants today, our guest speaker and our panelists. We've got some young panelists who were participants with us from elementary school, and they were gathering stories, they were researching, they were out on site visits with us as elementary school kids. And we've got some older youth that participated with us as young professionals who were really leading the way and shaping the questions that we were asking and rallying the younger participants to join in the work. So really appreciate all of you for spending time with us and opening your hearts and minds for our panel. So I think most people are probably familiar with GEM, but I will, since it's kind of it's a public event, so I'll give you a little bit of rundown about the project, not to spend too long on it, but so kind of the elevator version, the elevator speech about GEM. GEM is Geo-Literacy Education in Micronesia, where an NSF-funded informal STEM learning project. And the work started in 2016. This is our final year. This will be it for us by the end of September. And the goal, our work, the point of our work was to demonstrate the potential for effective intergenerational informal learning and development of geoliteracy through an informal STEM learning team model, or an islet model. And we had groups, islet groups, about 30 of them over the last 5 or 6 years, 30 of them from Palau, Yap, Chuk, Pohnpei, Kashrai, and the Marshalls. So that's where our program was happening. But our 30 groups spanned quite a range of work. And we did some of our islet work in a community setting, and we did much of our islet work also in sort of an education, informal education settings. And so through the islets, we created products. And so they're maps, they're posters and signs out in the communities, billboards. We had islet members creating songs, leading community events, lots of weaving, lots of exciting community events. And the goal of all of these products was to help us as islet members, as staff, as participants in GEM in its multiple ways. Our point was to help us think about our guiding question. And our guiding question is, how do we read the skies, the land, and the waters? And how do we learn from those texts in order to make decisions that positively affect ourselves and our communities? So how are we reading skies, lands, and waters and using that to make good decisions for ourselves and others? Yeah, so that's kind of the rundown. And so each of our islets had young people, and the young people were participants as much as the adults. We were researchers, we were gathering information, we were observing, and we were authoring products. And so having these young people as part of our islets really challenged us, it inspired us, and it reminded us about the future and the reasons why we ever engaged in this discussion. So yeah, really excited that all of you are here and that we're here together. And so before we hear from our panelists, we have a special guest speaker. And this is somebody that I've been looking forward to hearing from for a while, because we didn't get to hear from her last year, but I'm super excited she's here with us today. So we've got Yolanda Joab Mori, and she is part of the larger conversation around sustainability in the Pacific. So super excited to have her today. Yolanda, if you're ready, I'll give you a little introduction and then, yeah, okay. All right, so Yolanda is from the La Ciala clan in Pohnpei, and she resides in Chuuk now with her family. And she's currently the program coordinator with Blue Prosperity Micronesia, supporting the sustainable growth of marine resources in the FSM. Yolanda is also the founder of Island Pride, a nonprofit organization that empowers communities and youth, especially women and girls, to take action that improves lives. Yolanda is passionate about advocating for her home islands and has been the keynote speaker in many venues. So really excited to have her here in our little venue. So thanks, Yolanda. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, Corinne. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh my gosh. For some reason, yeah, these virtual things make me a lot more nervous than like real life events. But it's so good to see so many smiling faces from across our home islands. It's been so long since a lot of us have been able to be together and to gather. So the next best thing is it's definitely spaces like this. So thank you so much for having me. First and foremost, kasalelia maingko ay jungal sagradang wow bangko purkorosien. Mual kachung kupreya poingak tatongi masan te pachon wai poiki karape. So again, good morning, everyone. Aloha. Nesaranim Yakwe Tuo Mogating Kasalelia, and a very good morning to you all from Chuuk. I want to pay my sincere respects to everyone here in this space and just say thank you very much to the Prail team for inviting me to be here and to celebrate the wonderful work that GEM has been doing across the ocean with all of you. I really look forward to listening and learning from our young panelists today. To me, I think one of the bravest things a person can do is to be willing to learn out loud, because that's one of the ways that we can build community. And not often enough does that happen on platforms that elevate youth voices. So I'm so excited for that today. So yeah, my name is Yolanda. You can call me Yolan. I am Pohnpei, Kushrine, Mortlockies, living in Chuuk. I am a daughter of the La Ciala clan and a mother of 3 very naughty little ones. I'm sure like all of you, I grew up in such a way that the inherent and irremovable relationship that we have with our natural environment, skies, water, seas, land, was just something that was so normal that we didn't really think of it as a thing, right? It was just kind of how we lived. So whether it was my grandmother planting sakao, or my brothers climbing down breadfruit, or my uncles bringing in fish from their catch, or picking leaves from the ilau plant when someone got sick, like those kinds of day-to-day decisions and things, that's just life. So we definitely have a living relationship, right, with our land, with our ocean, with our skies, with just Mother Earth. And it's very much rooted in reciprocity, right? So she takes care of us and we take care of her. And that's the relationship. But then I think questions to ask ourselves is, what does that relationship start to look like when we take into account the impacts of climate change? How does that start to change? How is that jeopardized? Or how does that relationship change when more and more nowadays survival means something quite different? Survival means, for most, working a 9-to-5 job or spending less time nurturing that relationship that we have with our environment. And so I think these are the kinds of questions that we need to start asking ourselves, but also not just how do we salvage that relationship, but how do we empower it? And I think these are the kinds of questions that GEM, the GEM program is addressing through its work. And it's such an important work because these things don't just teach us the practical skills to make better and informed decisions, but they also teach us very important values that create our character as islanders. So I'm just very grateful to be here. This work is just as much necessary as it is urgent. And I think it reflects back to us just how incredibly knowledgeable, powerful, resilient, and capable our people are for being stewards of this knowledge for generations. So for most of what I want to share today, I'll leave this bit here, but I do want to just wrap up with a bit of a spoken word piece or a poem that I had written in honor of Earth Day, although Earth Day is every day. But I think this poem, for me, it grapples with a lot of topics that I think are relevant to today's discussion and this bigger conversation around resilience, around traditional knowledge, around culture. And for me, it draws parallels between, to me, the very maternal relationship that we have with our environment and our land, but then also writing that through the lens of being a mother myself as well. So this for me is a tribute to all the mothers that I have, be it these islands, my grandmother, or the long line of stewards that we all come from. So I will just jump in and share that now, if that's okay. Yeah, okay. The thing about resilience is that it only exists in relationship with adversity. While we islanders are constantly celebrated and complimented on our perpetual resilience, we then forget about the harmful systems that have caused us to need to be resilient in the first place. Was that a mistake? You see, resilience does not happen in isolation, whether it be a person, a people, a community. There is always something painful on the other side of that resilience: injustice, oppression, disaster, discrimination, disappearance. So are we doing enough to look on the other side of our resilience? What's behind it? Or is that as far as your convenience and comfort zone will take you? I don't want you to look at me and give me a standing ovation for my resilience. I want you to look at you, stop clapping, and use those hands to hold mine, and together dismantle the very systems that allow you to clap while I try to survive. You see, resilience has been the prerequisite for us to simply be alive, because if we weren't, we wouldn't be here. Imagine how we'd thrive if we could just get out of survival mode long enough to let go of this load we have been carrying. How beautiful we'd be if we could just stop fighting to be here and just... I'm tired of trying to justify that this earth is just as much my mother as she is yours. I know the story of my birthplace. She sang to me too. As Nono nestled the placenta that I was born with into the soil outside our home, I like to imagine that it rained that day. The kind of Pohnpeian rain that turns days into dreams. Maybe that's why I'm such a daydreamer. Maybe the ground was wet and soft with cracklings of fallen breadfruit leaves. That the brown of the earth made its way to my skin. I am divinely rooted into this land, the way all my ancestors and mothers were before me. It is no coincidence that Earth Day sits between Mother's Day and Women's Day. This planet is maternal. This connection is umbilical, woven with matrilineal lines. So I study the lines in her face. She's 90 years old, she is 90 years strong. I study the lines in her face, every indent, every fracture, every canyon of wisdom around those raindrop tired eyes. I wonder, has she ever known rest? Born between wars, her native tongue cut from her mouth, illiterate, they called her. Her who can write stories with seeds in the soil. Her whose body authors the continuity of our lineage. Illiterate? They didn't know who she was. Before the bombs, before the Bibles, they thought they taught us how to pray, but they didn't know how we were Lazarus every day. Ain't we biblical? Unkillable? You see, that's what it means to be matrilineal. If our names is what we inherit from our fathers, then it must be the resilience that allows us to even be here with names that we inherit from our mothers. Woman, a borrowed rib from man, and like the ribs that we are, don't we hold it all together? Don't we protect all that is vital? You see, a rib cage is what to vital organs is what a woman is to her community, is what a mother is to her family, is what this earth is to humanity. So let's celebrate that. Not out of distraction, but out of distinction. Celebrate your sun-kissed skin for the golden hour it always is. Your long indigenous names and how it dances off of the tongue. Celebrate your wide open mouth and how liberating your laughter is. Celebrate the ocean in your chest and the fire in your belly. Your straight back for how unapologetic it can be. Your bowed head for how humble it chooses to be. Celebrate the ancestors that made you possible. Celebrate the future that you will make possible. Celebrate the times that taught you about darkness, and celebrate the times when you smiled in the light. And always, always celebrate the cathedral that is your heart. Because you see, resilience is the sound of your heart still beating. Thank you. That's really the bulk of what I have to share and offer this space today. I'm so happy to be here and just ready to engage in more discussion. And really the highlight for me today is just listening to these young people share their experiences and what they've learned through this journey. So thank you.
Wow. Kalangan Yolan. If anyone has any questions that you would like to ask Yolan, we have a few minutes to take some questions. Oh my goodness.
I'm speechless. I'm speechless. You know, you just like, and my computer was like, you know, the screen was like this, and I'm trying, okay, don't. It was flicking while you were talking. It was flicking. I just can't. I don't know. But thank you so much. Kalangan Isutapo, you know, when you talk about Mother Nature, we're all connected. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
If we take care of nature, what nature will do to us, will take care of us. Thank you for that part. So that's our responsibility. It's not somebody's. Don't say, well, you know, they work for the government, they will pick up the trash. It's our responsibility to pick up the trash. Yeah. If we are willing to learn out loud, here, we are here to learn out loud. Thank you so much, Yolanda. That was very powerful. Any question from anybody? Anybody has anything to say, share?
One question. So Yolanda, what made you wrote that poem? there's so much experience behind it. Very grounded, very true, culturally very relevant.
Thank you. I think it was a lot of things. So for me, writing is really just a way for me to navigate through things that I don't really get or understand and try to just get all the messiness out of my head and put it down to try to make sense of things. But this piece, it's actually been a work in progress for a while. And I've been changing and adding and subtracting to it. And it was inspired by quite a few things. It's first and foremost was my grandmother, who I speak about in the piece. And, you know, she was she's the real anchor for my, I think, ability to truly have a sense of ownership and gratitude to my Pohnpeian identity, my identity as a mother and the responsibilities that come with it. But in the work that I do, you know, there's a lot of challenges. And I think something that I've been grappling with a lot recently is this idea of resilience. And I think there's quite it can be a tragedy and a triumph, I think, and it's quite complicated to me. So I think, you know, a lot of times people are always like, oh, Pacific Islanders, what, just good job, you're so resilient. Like, yeah, you're doing what you need to do to, you know, through initiatives such as this even, you know, and all the things that we do to keep a stronghold on what's ours, our land, our identity, our culture, our education, like everything. But at the same time, you know, it begs the question, when are we going to start talking about and putting spotlight on the things that have historically made us and our people need to be resilient in the first place? And that's something that I've been grappling with, and that comes out in this piece as well. Yeah, I don't know if I'm answering a question or not, but I'm just spitballing here, so forgive me.
Thank you so much for such powerful, very true. We're feeling the speech right here. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a question on the chat from Dr. Marilyn Lowe about how spoken word is a powerful tool. And she was wanting to know, Yolan, if you work with others to communicate their ideas in this way.
Yeah, yeah, definitely agree. Powerful tool. And it's such a, I think, it's a way that allows us to express ourselves and that might not be able to come out in different ways. Something that we love to do with our Island Pride youth here in Chuuk, we try to offer different platforms for them to lead. And one thing that we've done is having, what's it called? Open mic nights. And we'll just, like, really, we just like to hang out, and then we'll do some writing workshops, and then sometimes like we'll have an open mic night and everybody can just come have a safe space away from, you know, judgment or anything. And the kids get to get up on stage and just share whatever they want. And it can be quite therapeutic, I think.
Thank you. Jenny in Yap is asking if you can come to Yap and share.
Yes, please. Can you send me a boat?
Okay.
To pick you up on the canoe.
Yeah.
Question from the Ponce Islet.
Hey, kailangan. Yolan, kailangan ako. Wow, you really take my breath away. I really want to thank you very much. First, I'm really impressed with you being youth like you, being able to express yourself like that. I just feel that you've expressed myself also. You really inspired me in being able to, express how you feel through those words. I just wish I could also express myself like that, because I feel like the same way, but I just don't know how to put it. So I really thank you very much for doing that for us, especially for the youth. And especially using your grandmother and our mother heard to express how we feel and how the relationship we have together like that. Just want to thank you very much for feeling that way. I want you to know that I feel the same way. I just don't know how to express like that. So I salute you. Thank you. Kailangan taulong.
Kailangan.
Kailangan katindot.
If we may. Hi. Thank
Okay,
you,
Chris Ryan.
Yolan. A big kula malala from our side. There's no questions, but to echo the other regions to really compliment you on your point. We also wish that you can come here in person. We'll send not a boat, but maybe an helicopter to get you. So thank you, Yolan. We'll see you soon. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Kula.
Make sure you pick me up too. I'll be waiting. Thank you, thank you. Any more questions from anybody before we move on with our program, our agenda? I know it's just like, give us a moment of like, oh, wow. Yeah, but really, Yolan, I have to say, you need to double it because you missed last year. You were supposed to be here last year. So I was gonna say, double that. But thank you so much. Oh, Ishi, you have a question? Okay.
Yolanda, I'm one of the panelists, and I just wanted to ask you, like, what is your word of advice to all the panelists that are participating on this program? Like, what is your word of encouragement to all of us that, as a young professionals?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question. But thank you. I think you're already on the right track. I mean, the fact that you're here and you're, participating in this. So I would say, keep doing that, keep surrounding yourself with people and with resources, and put yourself in spaces and places that empower you, that make you remember and feel proud of who you are as an islander, as Marshallese, as Caribbean, as Pompeian, because I think, like, at least for me, like, I think that's always going to be the foundation that enables everything else to flow afterwards. Something that I found in doing this work that I do, whether it be advocacy or trying to work in the government on resource management and things like this, youth and the young people really are an untapped powerhouse resource for us. And I think more needs to be done to elevate and amplify and empower our young people, which is why I'm so grateful for PRAIL and the work it's doing here, because the young people can really be the driving force, and we need youth voices at tables like this and decision-making spaces, contributing in the conversation, because ultimately I'm not going to say we, because I'm not that young anymore, but the young people are really the ones who are going to be inheriting all of the things that we're trying to figure out right now. So why not jump in right now and not wait till later? So the fact that you're not waiting till later, but you're doing it now, I salute you. And I think you're the one that should be giving me advice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. That is very, very powerful question. And it's good to also know what you want to know from the speaker. Okay. So do we have any other questions before we move on again? Or any other words? Okay, no question. Thank you, Yonan. You triple that for us. And Corinne said, it's worth the wait. So
Definitely.
definitely, right? Yeah. All right, thank you. So we're going to move on with our agenda today. Now we'll begin our panel discussion with a select group of youth that participated in our GEM ISLETs over the past 6 years. I'll introduce our group, then we can begin our discussion, or they can also, say something about themselves. And for our audience, if you have questions for our panelists, we will have a question and answer period after the discussion, or Q&A after discussion. And you are welcome to type your questions into the chat box again. Even during the discussion, you can type your question. Then we will take a few questions from you all, okay? All right, so on our panel, we have Kalain Patak. Kalain Patak is a student at the College of Micronesia and was born and raised in Nets, Pohnpei. Kalain is the eldest sister of 5 and an active leader in community and church programs. She started participating in GEM while attending Nets Elementary School in 2017. Wow. Okay. We have Raven Patricio. Is a liberal arts major at College of Micronesia and was born and raised in Medellin, Pohnpei. Raven is an active youth leader in community and church, and he values and spends most of his time with family, church, community, and school. Thank you, Raven. Welcome. We have Leah Barnabas. She's a telecommunications major at the College of Micronesia. She was born and raised in, okay, I'm gonna try to say this, Damoroalon.
Say it, Leah, say it. Chamaralo.
Oh my gosh. In Kitty, in Pohnpei. So she is an active youth in her community. We have Mitas Suelisa Abraham Philip. She's an agriculture major student at the College of Micronesia Coastrai campus. Mita was born and raised in Malem, Coastrai. She's an only child and an active youth community member. We have Catherine Gertie Simeon Philip, or Cat Dor. She's an agriculture major student at the College of Micronesia Coastrai campus. Cat Dor is the 3rd eldest in her family of 5. She hopes to finish her degree in agriculture and expand her learning to the rest of the community. We have Casey Daniel Colwyn. Casey is an 8th grade student at Malem Elementary School. Casey started to be involved in the GEM project in 4th grade. Whoa, 4th grade. With his mother, Marian Kefas, who is also an active GEM Islet member since year 1. Casey is the youngest in his family. We have Arlene Lanken. Arlene is a nutritionist with the Yap State Division of Agriculture and Forestry, Department of Resources and Development, Nutrition Awareness Program. She's from Yap, the island of Stone Money in the Federated States of Micronesia. Arlene started at her current position after graduating from Fiji National University in 2017, and she believes that food is medicine and that the type of food we eat greatly determines the health of our bodies. We have Jennifer Palomar, the chairwoman for the Kids of Rural Community, KORC, and also an administrative assistant with YAP Comprehensive Cancer Control Program. Jen was born in Guam and raised in Yap. Her father is from Fais, Yap. Her mother is from Uman, Chuk, and she's from the Mots clan of Chuk. Jen is also a council member for the Efficient Behavioral Health and Wellness Advisory Council, which led to her working with the KORC, or Kids of Rural Community. We have Melvin Follis. He's from Ponlap, Chuk. He started working as a teacher in 2014 and now at level 8 with the Chuk State Legislature. Then we have Douglas Henos from Riketo clan in the Marshall Islands, and he's a student at the University of Hawaii at Hilo. He likes basketball and his favorite hobby is experiencing new things. And last but not least, we have Botina Lani Nangpada. It's from, how do you say religion? Religion.
Relic chain.
Relic chain.
Religion.
Namu clan in the Marshall Islands, and is a student at the College of Marshall Islands. She likes singing, going to church, and hanging out with friends. And her favorite food is sashimi. I like sashimi too. Welcome. Let's welcome our panelists, and they can add on, any introduction to themselves if they would like to. Okay. So we start with our panelists.
Yeah. So our first question goes to our panelists from Koshrai, Mita, Casey, and Castor. The first question is, what is the biggest challenge facing your community right now?
Before I respond to question 1, let me first greet each and everyone. There are many challenges we face in our community. We look at the skies, the lands, and the waters. We see so many challenges in these sites. However, one of the biggest challenges facing my community is coastal erosion. Many of the houses located by the coastal areas are already gone. We know and hear every day about climate change. Climate change increases sea level, Then sea level rise increases flooding, which leads to the next big challenge in our community that will be shared by Mipa.
Another biggest challenge in our community is our water source. Last year, our only water dam was damaged due to heavy rain and flood. We are still having problems with clean water and access to enough water to all the houses in our community.
My house is right by the beach. I'm facing these challenges every day. Ever since my great grandfather's generations, the water supply was and still is never enough to provide for all the people in my hamlet.
Thank you, Kushai. So coastal erosion and water. These are the biggest challenges that we're hearing from Kushai. Do any of the other students or youth panelists want to add on?
Yeah, from RMI here, the first question, referring to the first question, what is the biggest challenge facing your community right now? My answer is the ultimate challenge I noticed that my community is going through today corresponding to our sky, land, and water is primarily the culture. In comparison, culture here in the RMI has diminished so much that navigation techniques that were used to sail through these archipelagos of lands by utilizing the sky, the water, the science of lands have degraded. In addition, legends that were once told to our grandfathers and grandmothers have eroded from the community's knowledge. And traditional tools made out of our own plants are now used for exhibition purposes. Our historical sites are not being conserved, but rather let the mother nature claim it. And stories of these sites have sadly ended with the families that were the last to be told. As a result, the culture has altered tremendously compared to the indigenous days.
Kumunta ka Les. Do you guys want to add anything to that?
So,
So I have a follow-up question for Kushrai real quick. So coastal erosion due to climate change and water supply are these biggest challenges, right? Are people in Kushrai doing anything about these?
Yes. Mama, yes.
What are they doing?
That's all.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, what are some initiatives that let you know that your community, yes, these are challenges that you're facing, but let you, especially the youths, let you know that, you know, these are challenges that the community recognizes, but also they're doing something about it.
Community. Okay, Cash Koshai. Okay, they're gonna reply in Vishayan and then I'll
Yeah,
try to.
Cash Koshai, please.
I'll cast Koshai to you all. Maybe you or Yolan or whoever at that lot can do the translation for us. Okay. So what they're saying now, of course, they have, there is, like their answer is yes. There are a lot of different initiatives. So when they try to identify or address the challenges we have, they only focus on our community, the Malin Village, for now. We kind of try to narrow it down to our community. So there are initiatives like efforts that are going on in the community where people are already moving upland, relocating their houses. And then even there are also community outreach campaigns that are going on. And even the state government, I know that there's the Green Climate Fund. It's still pending and it's still in the pipeline where they want to move all the houses right by the shore to Upland. So that project is still in the pipeline right now. But yes, there are initiatives going on in our community.
Okay. Thank you, Joy. So the reason why I ask is so it's important to know these challenges, but to also recognize efforts being made to make things better, and then participate, especially as youth. The challenge shared by Douglas from Medero, this was about the loss of traditional skills, right? You mentioned navigation skills. Okay.
Benua.
Oh, the other one. Yes, yes. I was referring to our navigational skills and ways of predicting the future events before voyages of those times.
Okay. Katu. Okay. So as a youth on Madro, do you see that efforts are being made to preserve that knowledge or bring it back? And are you getting involved in those or?
Oh, yes, I participated on one of the classes on CMI, like martialist class, but it wasn't about traditional tools and stuff, but it was, we had the chance to go to the museums and, explore our traditional tools at the museum. But I didn't really participate on, learning how to navigate using our traditional ways to navigate.
Is there a way for you to learn how to learn the traditional navigational skills now that is being offered somewhere other than CMI?
Oh yes, I think they are offering navigational skills at WAM. So you get to learn how to work with the youth and also with the elders, and you get the chance to learn their knowledge. So Welcome.
What about our other youth panelists from the other states? Challenges that you would like to share, or comments on what was already shared by Kushai and RMI?
Can I jump in from here? This
Go
is
ahead,
Jennifer.
Jen.
Unfortunately, I don't have any youth with me today. The youth that participated last year, they've all gone to school or are working. But the biggest challenge in our community here in Yap, or specifically in Ru, I would say is being prepared for typhoons. And I think for all of YAP, or all of FSM right now, this is true because most people in Ru, they, like I said before, they don't have like concrete houses. Transportation is also a challenge for almost everybody. And one of our goals is to have a typhoon shelter for the community. Nowadays, whenever it starts raining or the winds are just blowing, people are already calling in asking if there's a typhoon or not. People are scared, and that's due to climate change, I guess. I also wanted to add to Marshall's a piece where traditional skills are kind of vanishing. I think that's probably true for all of us in Micronesia, or from what I see. Culture itself, traditional skills, it's not as vibrant as it was before when we were still young. And there are a lot of traditional skills that most of our youth don't know, especially those who live here on the main island. And I would, I'm not sure about back in the outer islands, because a lot of these modern things are also moving up there. You go up to the outer islands, you see people with tablets and phones, and yet they cannot make any calls, or some of them can't even connect to the internet. But these are things that are making us kind of lose our cultural skills and knowledge as well. And we need to do something to bring it back. I know most of us girls here in Yap, we probably can't even weave lava lava by ourselves or by myself. I know I can't. I'm kind of like a Peace Corps here in the islands. But yeah, and it's not just that, it's also with traditional cooking, traditional foods. We're slowly seeing these things fade away from us. So these are challenges that I think will really impact us and our kids in the future. And with the course, KRC, we're working with another project in inspiring women's advancement. And maybe we can help bring more skills and knowledge to our younger girls here or in our community through the women, our elders here. But for the boys, I'm not sure. I mean, we can make it known to the men, but for us to like just say, hey guys, you gotta do something, you know, teach these boys how to fish or teach these boys how to carve, or I'm not sure how we can do that, but we'll try. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. Yes, very, very true. It's all across this concern started raised from Madro, but also shared across the region. a lot of our traditional skills are diminishing. So as youths, we should think about ways to bring that knowledge back, preserve what we have right now. Eh? Yeah, definitely, Yolan. We can't blame our youths for not knowing what we never taught them. So it is up to us now to learn. So different initiatives are popping up all over the region. So small initiatives, but I think we start small and expand. Douglas shared about WAM, and WAM just recently suffered a tragic loss with the fire to their building and some of their equipment lost. But the knowledge, I think, that they've been teaching and sharing with these youths is still there, and they can still continue. They can always rebuild another building, right? So we find, especially as youths, you find ways that you can find these challenges in your communities and then look for initiatives that are trying to address these challenges. So thank you again for Kushai for sharing your challenges with us for RMI. Bumol Kanji. Kanji just shared that WAM is coming back. And it will be at the same location, yeah? Go ahead, Kathy.
Oh, sorry. No, I don't mean to cut you. I'm sorry. But thank you, Bushra, and thank you all for responding to that question. To those that contribute to the question, giving your answers, those are really important because it's a learning process. And again, youth, this is your time. This is your turn to take that torch and run with it. Okay. All right. So now to our Pohnpei panelists. I can see they're situating themselves to come in front. Kalain, Leah, and Raven. The question is, I feel like, this is a kind of competition, but don't feel like it's a competition, okay? This is a good. So the question for our Pohnpei panelists, why is it important for you as Pacific Islander youth to be geo-literate, know how to read lands, skies, and waters to make decisions? Why is it important for you as a Pacific Islander youth to know to read lands, skies, and waters, and for you to make the decision? Okay.
Before we proceed on, just want to correct the pronunciation of my name because you pronounced it wrong. It's not Kalain.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Mama, it's all good.
Okay. Iya mo kasalaya na inko. Mawatch mo luwa katasha patch. May kashungu pura sa ang patch nito kaya ang why. Pwede kahit yung kitchkaler na Pohnpei. Array. So here's our question, our answers. So as a youth, as a Pacific Youth Islander, it is very important for us to be geo-literate so we can understand our own places and respect what we have.
Okay, and also it is important because we are Pacific Islands. We need to understand and respect how to read our skies, water, and land so it can be continuing for the future generations.
Knowing how to read the land, skies, and water to make decisions is very important for Pacific Islander youth. For example, when the kids want to go swimming, we can tell if it will be safe for them to go just from looking at the top of the mountain. This is being geo-literate, and we should all find ways to be more geo-literate in our everyday lives.
That's all. Kailangan.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any question from the audience or anybody from the islands have anything to also contribute to the question?
From Chuk.
Go ahead, Chuk.
Okay. Well, starting from simple matters, mostly Chukis try their clothes in the sun. So they have to know if it's going to rain or not in order to wash their clothes. And that's it. That's the simplest knowledge that has to be learned. And the more difficult ones are for navigators to know when to sail or not, if depending on the weather. So unfortunately, those knowledge are slowly fading away. Thank you very much.
Kailangan.
Thank you, Chuk. I know that the easy one. Look, if it's going to rain or not. Okay, I'm going to try my clothes or I'm going to do my laundry today. If it's not going to, if it's going to rain, oh no, I'm not going to do my laundry. But thank you, Melvin, for sharing that. Anybody else from any other of the panelists from the island?
Sorry, from the Arama again.
Okay, go ahead, Marcel.
There are tons of reasons I could have listed why it is really important for Pacific youth, such as I and the other panelists, to understand our skies, water, and lands. However, I believe that the main reason it is critical for us Pacific youth to understand our sky, water, and land is generally for making decisions to be able to survive. For example, navigation, fishing spot, and also the predicting future events, and also understanding seasons. So when you know your surrounding, you'll be able to navigate or know where which fishing spot that is really perfect for catching fish for a short period of time. And also youth are able to predict future events and also understand seasons of plants. For example, if they know the season for pandanus, for harvesting pandanus, then they'll be able to, life will be a lot easier for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcel. That's very important. That is true. Coach Rai or Yat, can you also respond to the question?
I'll just add something. For us here in Yap, like Marshall said, seasons. We have to know if it's a good day for planting taro or it's a good day for harvesting tobacco. We do that in the face. And it's also for safety. Safety of family on the island, the house. Safety, okay, don't go fishing because it's rough on this side of the island, or they know that it's going to be calm on the other side of the island. These are all signs that we use to survive as well, like Marshall said. It's important to know, because then you know how to plan your day or the months coming ahead, all of the things to be geo-literate. It helps you live. That's why we need to have our youth know how to be geo-literate. I mean, these are things that we grow up with. We know that, okay, our parents tell us, go get water because, you know, it's this time of the day. We need to get water for whatever. But really, it is for living, for security, for food security as well. I think that's all I can share.
Thank you. Ms. Ryan, do you have any respond to the question? I can repeat the question. Oh, okay, there you go.
I think, okay. Can we respond to question 2? We have one of our teachers here, so she'll be translating for the 3 families here. Snowcone.
Question 2.
Yeah, just that question 2.
I just want to add some. Thank you, Global Lab. I just want to add something to the question. I think being geo-literate is being able to read, of course, the land, the sky, and the water. That's what makes us islanders. You cannot find in other places on Earth where they only talk about the snow or a hailstorm. But as us islanders, we are able to, it is important for us to be able to read the land, the skies, and the waters. That is what defines us as islanders.
Bravo, we found our identity. Islanders, we read land, skies, and water. That is true. Thank you, Kusran. Do we have any add-on or question?
Okay. Please, if you have anything else to add on, continue to type it out on our chat box. We'll move on to question 3. This will be for Team RMI, for Douglas and Glodina. Next is, what's the one thing you have learned through GEM that you did not know before?
Hello everyone. So one thing that I've learned, our GEM trip 5 years ago to Arno and was very special and unforgettable experience, since we spent 9 days at sea on the Okeanos, Marshall Islands. It was an experience that took us away from our normal comfort zones that we were used to, like having proper shower and toilet facilities, eating properly on a table, sleeping on a comfortable, stable bed and platform, etc. What we got was a shock and a refreshing boost to our senses, and we never regretted ever experiencing it. We understand now the life of a seaman or a seawoman. It is not easy. However, we thought more about our ancestors who sailed this vast ocean with these similar built canoes, minus the engines, propellers, GPS, gas stoves, ice boxes, electricity, toilets, etc. We were really in admiration and amazed of the thoughtness, challenges, skills, and the type of attitude our ancestors had to go through this unforgiving Pacific Ocean to find these islands first, and secondly, to sail back and forth for trade or other reasons. Mind you that these trips had children and the old traveling in it, and words alone cannot comprehend just how they did it. Our generation has to give a new lease of life to this mode of traveling so that we do not forget our history, heritage, and more importantly, show how proud we are of our forefathers who justified the odds and conquered, but still respected the Pacific Ocean. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. In addition, there were a multitude of things that I learned after my participation with the GEM group, such as pinpointing geographical location of historical site. But my most interest was on a local food named Janguin in Marshallese. From an island so isolated that people don't depend on goods shipment, but rather they adapt to their surroundings. I learned about the Janguin from Medjay Island, where we were designated to. The dish is made out of pandanus and considered one of the many essential items on a voyaging canoe. Janguin is considered a voyaging food because it has the ability to stay for a long period of time, and the nutrient from it provide the navigators to sail and stay out of hunger longer than their daily food on land. Janguin isn't often displayed on major atoll, but rather it is often displayed on outer islands, just as Medjay Island. Thank you.
Kumontada takalism klotina. Wow. I actually really wished I had gone with you guys those 10 days on Okeanos. But thank you for sharing those experiences. Yes, I think you guys had some of the best trips, best experiences learning and getting out of your comfort zone, huh? Especially learning how to make Janguin. Can you make Janguin now, Douglas?
I could make, but I forgot the recipe for it.
So, great thing. One of the products you guys created was the recipe for Janguin. Right? We have that, right, Corn? Yes. So that's one of our GEM products, was those members from RMI islet went out and they learned these things and they captured those recipes.
I want some of that. Are you making?
Let's get the recipe.
Douglas and Clotilde, are you making?
Yes. Do any of our other panelists want to share something they learned through GEM that they never learned before? Hello. Me, Madam Chair? Sorry.
So there is a question from Marilyn Low if any of the panelists is not responding.
Okay. So Dr. Lowe asked, do you think any of this learning could be learned in public school as well as in the community?
Thank you for the question, Dr. Lowe. Yes, right now we're in the process of creating a place-based education lesson plans, especially for the, for the times when disasters hit or even if there's COVID. So a lot of these lesson plans has to do with, our ways of doing things, traditionally our own resources inside and outside the houses, so instead of the textbook, I've been working with the CIA, the specialists here at the Ministry of Education, RMI, and one of the biggest tasks right now is to create, lesson plans that are relevant to what we know growing up and things that are really part of our culture, what we use at home. Yes, if that answers the question, or if I need to add more.
Let me just say I'm delighted to hear that that's what's happening in the RMI, and I would hope that Douglas gets to learn about a number of things in school as well as out of school. There's no reason not to, and I think Yolanda gave us that message early on in this session to say that we need to be prepared. We need to think about what it is that's causing us to become resistant and resilient. And I think learning needs to begin a lot sooner than it does. And the homes, the community needs to be involved in public education in a big way. So thank you. Yes.
Kailangan, Dr. Lowe. Thank you, Shiwata.
I think Lynette wants to know what was that Marcel was talking about.
Jangun?
Yeah.
Jangun. It's made from pop from pandanus. Did you make it?
Is that
can be both, can be from net and from pandanus. Type of net called nice.
Maybe Ishiwata, you can convey what
Yeah, Evelyn was trying to say that Tianguin can be made from breadfruit as well as pandanus.
Okay, and what kind of breadfruit?
Katak. Oh, we got an expert here. Katak. Mejuan. Yeah. So I'm hearing 3 types, but when we went to measure it, it was made from pandanus.
Yeah.
And measured, they call pandanus layer 3 because they have a lot of varieties. They have almost like 50 varieties of different panelists, you know. Growing up, I always thought that, like I know three, Mayel, Utatat, and another one. I didn't know they have like almost 50 varieties. But we ate that almost every day because, like Douglas was saying, you know, the ship hardly goes there. It's a single island, very isolated. You know, waves on both sides, all sides actually, and so the boat might go there like within 6 months one time. So it's we had to eat the pandanus paste, the tianwen. And after 2 days, I couldn't take it anymore. But the people there are very resilient. They can eat it with coconut and fish for a very long time.
Per month. It lasts for a long time, right?
And so you can dry it, you can eat it right away. You can also cook it, umu.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else has any additional comments on what you learned through GEM that you didn't know before? Okay. If not, I'm gonna pass it on to Kathy to ask our fourth question.
All right, question number 4 goes to Yap. The question for our Yap panelists, what's your advice to someone that wants to learn about or learn more about their own skies, land, and waters? What is your advice?
I'm gonna take a crack at it, but I'm not an expert in this area. But my advice would be to be observant and ask. If you see something and you know that it's not normal or it's something new or something different, you need to ask. I would think that the best people to ask these types of questions to would be like navigators or anybody who can sail a canoe or paddle a canoe out to the waters. For us, mostly our elders, they're the ones who know what to tell us when we ask these kind of questions. Most of everybody, they know the seasons, they know how to read the waters. Some of the youth, when we did our DRM exercise, some of them know more than I do about reading the skies and the waters. But yeah, be observant and ask. Not just about the skies, the land, the waters, but even about the land, because most of everybody, they know how to plant, they know what to plant, when to plant. These are also things that you learn about, and they all connect together because you know not to go fishing when it's rough. You know not to plant certain crops when it's raining, or you know it's not the right season to plant whatever crop you're going to plant because the soil is either changing color or it's too dry. Or but yeah, I would say ask. This is also the way of gaining back that knowledge, and we need to make the youth aware of these things, because if we don't tell them now, I don't know how they're going to live later on. People, we cannot just depend on money. We need to also depend on our land and our waters. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. We have any of our panelists from the other islands that would like to respond to the question? Any advice from you to other people or someone that wants to learn more about their own lands and skies and waters? Okay. I see Marcel.
Yes. In my opinion, for our own survival, sustaining the livelihood of men and women is very important. To live on what we have in our environment, men and women need skills and knowledges to live a subsistence lifestyle. Skills like fishing, weaving, preserving foods, making cobra, and cooking are essential survival skills to living on our islands. Teaching our young ones such survival skills will help them to be resilient and wanting to continue to live and not leave their home islands.
Thank you. To survive, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, anybody else from the other islands? Chu, Pohnpei, Pusrai?
We have something to share on the advice. That's the
Oh,
last
okay.
question, right? So I'll ask Katidlik to share.
Well,
Some advice on.
I would like to say that not really an advice, but it's very easy. If you're one of those who want to learn more about GEM, being able to know about the skies, the land, and the water, first, you need to get involved in traditional activities. There are like conservation programs and a lot of like GEM. Be part of these, then you will learn more. But for GEM, I would say that you need to expand or make another renew or make another program regarding GEM to extend.
Proposal.
So yeah, proposal. So a lot of youths or those that may want to know more can get involved. Because me, myself, even though I kind of know some of them, but I still learned a lot through GEM. So if you're one of those, welcome and join GEM. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is true. Be involved, get in there and learn. Yeah, hands-on. And Corinne is going to make more programs.
Corinne has more homework.
More homework?
Proposals, yeah.
Yeah, for Kanita. And
From
me.
the RMI here again.
Okay, go ahead, Armai.
My only advice is to those that are younger than us here in the RMI is why wait? You can just participate anytime. Why wait?
Katarta.
Katarta.
Katarta. Why wait? Get in there. Oh, thank you. That is true. Chu, you have anything or was right?
Yes. This is Marcel.
Oh, Marcel, okay, go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
If I may add something to what the two panelists from Marcel Island were sharing with you about the skills that we may lose forever. Local medicine is one of the skills that is very important for survival. And nowadays, is people with those kind of knowledge, they're dying. And some of the knowledge that they have are lost with them. So maybe that's one of the things that you might want to explore in the program. Thank you.
Very true. Okay. Let's not think that we cool because we have iPhones, but we don't know how to read the waters, the skies, and the land. Okay. Anybody else? Or Chuk? I'm trying to also look for the chat box if there's any question. All right. So if there's no other response from the other panelists, we can move forward to the next question. And this question goes to Chuk and also everybody else. We will start with Melvin from Chuk. Then we can hear from the rest of our panelists from the different islands. The question is, if there was one thing you could encourage the audience to do as a result of our conversation, what would it be? Nelson?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to admit that this is the third GEM program I've been in or attending, and I did not complete the first two, and this is the one I am going to complete. And my encouragement would be that knowing that there is nowhere you can incorporate the learning of our culture, and GEM is the only place where we can learn it. I would encourage the audience to always be part of this program. The second one would be, if it could happen, if it is possible, if there are any members of education department in this conversation, so please incorporate this conversation about the culture into our curriculum. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That is true. Involve everyone. And if the Department of Education can collaborate in this education work, I mean, this kind of project, that would be great. Right? Any other response from our other panelists? We go down to Marcel. Marcel, are you there? Or it doesn't have to be Marcel. Any of the other islands, if you're ready, you can just chime in.
Sorry.
I like to really pick on you, Marcel. Okay, go ahead.
The question is, if there is one thing you could encourage the audience to do as a result of our conversation, what would it be? My answer is, my word of encouragement to our audience today is, the future isn't the past nor what we were told. The future is the action we take today. Now, I really don't know if someone already wrote that, but it just came to my mind when I read my script. But it's really relate to, one of the discussion of the call today. Like, we have to start sharing our knowledge, and we have to start, promoting sustainability, life sustainability that will conserve our, knowing of our sky, water, and our land. So yeah, that's my word of encouragement. Like start today and don't wait for someone to someone to make you aware of your surrounding. Just if you know you can prevent it from disappearing, then you can just start. Katarta.
Thank you. Why wait? What's that? Thank you. Anybody else from our panelists? Marcel, yeah, one thing.
But I can go next.
Okay, go.
This much.
I was part of the Busharian alphabet video in Facebook, listening and retrieving them. I've learned so much that I wish everyone else can also learn. It is also important for all of us to learn from each other. Chef opened up my eyes to start really thinking about my own identity and be very proud of who I am.
Thank you.
Okay, I think they're going to continue on.
Being part of the GEM breadfruit video, I would like to let our audience know that it is important to value all the rich varieties of breadfruit. You and I should start promoting eating and relying on our local food and resources. Western culture is not the only option.
Wow, cool. I like that.
Okay, what's the last
Western
one?
culture
What's
is
the
not
last
the
one?
only option. You have to also think about
that
our
again.
culture. She said, Western culture is not the only option.
All right, next.
Respect our elders. Learn as much wisdom, knowledge, and skills from your elders before it's too late. A moment is a moment. Start now.
Yes, that's true.
Or
That's
like our advice and then our encouragement, words of advice.
right. And I agree. The elders give us wisdom. I think our Pohnpei Islet there. Okay, go ahead.
All right. My word of encouragement will be what I used to cut after our masses every Sunday from my priest or my deacons. And it usually says, well, the mass is over. You go out and spread the words of the gospel. And I thank you all.
Good job.
Go spread the news, the good news. Go and teach about GEM, skies, waters, and lands. Thank you.
Can I add my advice?
Oh, sure.
I think you dive deeper into the things that should have been there to kind of shape your identity from the beginning. So it's who you are, your sense of belonging. And I think it's very important that these panelists and the other GEM members learn all these things, because growing up myself, I learned so much from the textbooks. So I could not even you know, I didn't know how to speak like this probably when I was their age, because I knew stories, but I wasn't taught that this is very important. This is who you are. This is, as a Marshallese, you know, you should know your story so that you can tell others, you know, and talk about your culture, and, you know, have that sense of pride, sense of belonging. So yeah, I mean, these guys are lucky. They've been through a lot. And I think it's going to make a change in their lives. The impact is so big on all of us.
Thank you. That is true.
Mm.
Yeah. Coach Rai said, yeah, thank you. Oh, Coach Rai was agreeing with Dr. Natalie said, put that on a shirt. Cultures, Western culture is not the only option. But anyway, can we hear from our panelists from Ponpe? I want to say this. Kenan,
Since we've been trying to read the land, water, and the skies, and they are trying to show us something. All I could say is that we need to be more geo-literate to learn more new things. Thank you.
So knowing these three things, it shows how we respect it's just like how we respect our land, seas, and waters, because like our ancestors or our Heavenly Father gave us these three things so we can take care of these things, use them, and without these things, we're not gonna be able to be talking in front of you guys. Thank you. Okay. And advice. Okay. For now, it's important as for these three to read the skies, oceans, and lands. It's very important for us because we're surrounded by these three things. So it's without this, we can't even know how to survive when there's a natural disaster will be come for our life. That's all.
thank you. I like that, to be mindful that we are surrounded by these three things: land, skies, and water. And without understanding them, we cannot be survived when it comes to natural disaster. That's very strong. Thank you.
So one last thing, because she wrote it and I don't know why she's refusing to read it, so I'm gonna read it. And this is from Kalain. Weweki, Waunaki, Kasampalaki, o Tatonki, Nimelele, o Kanene. That's Weweki is to understand. Waunaki is to respect. Kasampalki is like cherish. Am I saying the right word? Ladies outside. Kasampalki is to cherish something. And value. O tatonki nimelele, you use it in a peaceful way. And kanene is carefully. So you use these resources that we have. Understand them, you respect them, and you value them. So you use them respectfully and carefully. Yeah, so that it lasts for the future.
Wow. Oh, wow.
My
Okay.
gosh.
Yeah. What do you think, Pauline?
That's powerful.
To understand it, to value it, to learn. Yeah. Any contribution from you, Pauline, you want to share?
Definitely, I feel like I have to say something before we end for today. And first, I really want to commend these panelists. I mean, just the wealth of information they're sharing at their age is just, I don't know, it's so powerful for me. I'm learning a lot. And I try to think back, what would I have been able to answer these questions or even to think about these issues at their age? I don't think so. It's but some takeaways for me for the sharing that has been going on, beginning with Yolan's keynote address all the way to the questions is how it always comes back to respect and reciprocity, as Yolan stated. You know, if islanders or anybody living on this land and or this earth don't have any respect for anyone or anything, and of course we'll always be taking and not really caring for anything, and we won't have anything left for the future. And then another thing that I'm learning through this is how the system now, I would say the education system or the whatever we call it, is no, let me try to rephrase that. I'm trying to see how, because before, like children or youth grew up doing these things, right? It's like we say, it's for survival on this island. So people have to learn how to cook, how to weave, how to take care of the land, what have you. But then because of this new way of learning, which means it takes kids away from the homes or the communities and put them in a classroom where they're supposed to be learning too. So there is kind of like some kind of disconnect there, right? So my point is, I think there is, oftentimes we assume that kids come from home and they learn this stuff, these survival skills or knowledge that they're supposed to, and maybe they're not. And then they go into a classroom and they're supposed to expand on that knowledge or learn them if they don't learn at home. And again, something is lacking or missing there. So there is kind of like a lot of pressure on the teachers for the education system. And I know there are teachers in our midst, so they need to hear it, because if kids don't learn these things at home, or we don't know if they learn it, we cannot make that assumption, but we have to provide the opportunity in the classroom or anywhere for them to learn, because that's the only way they'll be able to do it and to perpetuate GEM or geo-literacy or all these cultural practices or values that are very valuable even in today's world. So that's my piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Pauline. And that is true. And Yolan said she was still playing marbles when she was their age. What was I was doing? I was busy swimming. Wish we have this kind, you know, during our time when we were young, very young. We're still young, but you know. Thank you so much. Do we have our Yep on? Yep, are you still there? Would you like to just give us your response to the question? If there was one thing you could encourage the audience to do as a result of our conversation, what would it be?
Thank you, Kathy. We have this thing back on the islands we call a wonderful half. A wonderful half. And I'm glad that Dr. Don Rubenstein is here. He can also help me translate what that is exactly. But a wonderful half is where families get together, dinner time. Everybody gets together outside the house or under the cooking house, whatever, when they're going to eat dinner. And this is where the grandparents, the parents, they start talking about stories from the past that has lessons so that the kids can hear it. They talk about how we're related to so-and-so on the island. Anything that the kids need to learn, that's where it's shared. Aside from that, you know, kids, for boys, they hang out with the men at the men's house. That's where they learn how to do their putting on the hook on the fishing line or carving canoes, and then the girls, they go to the women's house. Each village has their own men's and women's house, right? So that's where they learn weaving and all of that. But today, those things are not being practiced anymore, or not as much as before. These are things that we need to, I don't know, rejuvenate or revamp in our communities. And that's how our kids will also learn how to be geo-literate, learn the cultures, skills, anything and everything that our children need to know to survive on the islands. Don, can I ask for you to help me on this?
Jenny, I think you've said it very, very well. This is certainly something that I learned when I was living on Jenny's Island for 2 years. And actually, Jenny's dad was my first FICE instructor in language and culture. So I feel very indebted to their family. And I recall in the evenings, little kids would be walking up and down the path carrying a small piece of fish or a piece of breadfruit, and they'd be taking it to other relatives. And they would be carrying a little kerosene lantern. And in the evening, you could see all of this informal learning taking place, where kids would be delivering food to their relatives, and the relatives would be talking story with them. And this was an evening occurrence every day. And in addition, as Jenny pointed out, there were natural classrooms on the island in the women's house and the men's house. They were very, very active. When I was first there in 1972, there was a very destructive typhoon that hit FICE in 1987, Typhoon Orchid. And when I returned to FICE in 1991, this was 20 years after I'd first been there, the women's houses and the men's houses, for the first time in perhaps 1,000 years, had not been rebuilt. And I really had a sense that the community had changed in a significant way, that these community structures, which provided so much cultural education and kind of integration socially of the community, were no longer in existence. And I had the feeling that the community had kind of changed from being 3 integral villages to being 35 individual families. There really was a kind of a integration that had been lost, even from my rather superficial experience. So yes, I totally agree. As much as possible to try to reclaim these natural processes and locations for cultural learning that have been taking place for countless generations, and they're really important for all kinds of things. Not just learning about the environment, but learning about one's family, learning the family histories, the names going back generation after generation after generation, and all of the biographies that went with these individuals and the kind of moral stories that are tied up when people talk about their relatives and their ancestors. So yeah, it really is something that I agree fully with what Jenny and others have said as a way of trying to reclaim some of the cultural strength, the resilience that of course is still there, but perhaps not to the same degree as 30, 40, 50 years ago. So, and I just want to say I'm really impressed with hearing from so many young people what they've learned from this project. So I feel very privileged to have been at least peripherally involved. So thank you all. Thank you, Jenny, for calling on me.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was very nice of you to get in there, Dr. Rubenstein. Well, we're kind of toward the end of our agenda for today. But if anybody has anything to also throw in before we say, go and teach.
Tatarta.
Go and spread the word. Or do we have any questions from our audience or anybody that has anything to share with us? We can have a moment.
Hi, everyone. I just would like to say how impressed I am with the conversation that not only took place tonight, but I'm sure the conversations you've been having over the last 5 years. And I certainly hope that those conversations continue and that they lead to the expanded actions. So not only the kinds of things you've been doing, but thinking more deeply about the questions you were asked tonight, and including the, I think, really significant question that Yolanda asked at the beginning, the one that she said she's struggling with. And what are those causes that lead us to actions of resilience? So what is it that's happening in the world? And I think many of you know some of what that means, but I think it behooves all of us to really dig deep and see what we can do to ensure that sustainability is key. And I think you're just on an amazing track. And as someone said in the chat, I can't remember exactly who, but that if you're the leaders of today and tomorrow, we couldn't be in better hands. So congratulations to everyone and to all of you who contributed to making the program happen. The leaders of the group, you've done an amazing job. So you've made me proud. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Hello.
And can I just add the last thought? We've been talking over the years, and I think the impacts of this project are touched us in so many different ways. We have had children or young people that comes and go. They have been part of this project, then they leave, and we have new ones coming, learning, different things. An example is in Pohnpei. Pohnpei is known, I think, all over the world as an island with the most abundant source of water. And because of that, we take it for granted, because we see water all over the place, and it rains abundantly, almost every week. And so we become, and I cannot think of the best word, but Pohnpeians call it siêu couching. We become careless. We, get into a state where we think that, we will always have water. But what we found out, especially with the first group of students that were involved in GEM, they went out and learned about the water sources. And they also tested. We worked with EPA, with, different agencies, and really did tests of water. And what they found in the municipality that they tested all the rivers and all the water catchments was that only one of the water was safe for drinking. All the water, all the river and the water catchments that they tested were all contaminated. And so what leads, what is the result of that? Is that we become, aware that, we need to do something. We cannot just sit back and hope that things will take care of themselves. We cannot just sit back and wish, for, for the way things used to be in the past. We started a kind of, a coinage, I would say, in Panapens that we use it in our radio program to kind of encourage people to do something. And it really started, it was a thought from one of the deacons that shared. Idin lalay tikiyayo, ipunot karan watch iberpilaka. Means, I miss the good old days. And I'm worried about today. And I'm fearful about tomorrow. Because of what we see happening. So the question is, so what we can do? What can we do today so that the fear for tomorrow becomes less, or that things improve? And so that's a question that I want to leave it to us, especially the young people. What can you do today so that tomorrow is a better world? There are some things that are already happening. I think, from GEM or from, people that start thinking about things like in the Marshall Islands, they are now implementing place-based education in all their schools. And in Pohnpei, we have Pohnpei studies standards for all the elements, from EC all the way up, that PREL also helped Pohnpei Department of Education to develop. And in that curriculum standard, we have how many standards? One is on culture and language. One is on resilience and sustainability. And all these things that we've been talking about, part of GEM is included. One of the most important standards in that curriculum is intergenerational learning. That means youngsters learning from elders. So that is what I think that, one of the things that Pohnpei can do for the schools that can be done both inside and outside of the classroom. And I think GEM has, touched our hearts and our minds in so many different ways that we cannot just sit back and be lenient, things will take care of themselves because there is no way. We need to, be committed and feel responsible and do something to take care of now so that tomorrow will be better in our islands. That's my last thought. Thank you. I also echo my own, thanks to everyone, to Corinne, who's always there, being so patient with us all, and to Emerson and all of those people that contribute into making GEM become a reality. And we're going toward the end of it, and we feel very proud. We're proud for a work that has happened and it's gone really well, and I think it will impact our lives. Kailangan.
Man, we can go on and on and on. But unfortunately, we went over our time. We've went over our 2 hours. Kathy, do you want to share the evaluation link for folks to evaluate our session today?
I think I'm too slow. Our operator already shared. So there is a link to the evaluation. You can click on it to keep us your thoughts about today's discussion or panel. We really appreciate it. Besides that, I'm gonna turn it back to Corinne, our GEM coordinator. I was gonna do a shout out to Emerson, but he left. So Emerson, Emerson, hello and thank you when you watch the recording. So okay, Corinne, before we.
All right, yeah, I'll close this out then, I guess, right? So, wow, I was quiet, in part because I was chatting and doing other things, but mainly because I was listening. And I think that I'm looking forward to, I'm probably going to come back and watch this recording because I want to pick up on some of the pieces that I heard and I want to remember. And so I think that all of us my hope is that we're going to carry away nuggets of knowledge and insight from our young panelists that were shared today. And I just want to thank each one of our panelists for taking the time to not just be with us today, but I know that you were asked and invited. And so thank you for accepting the invitation to be part of this discussion today. Thank you for working on your questions and thinking about your responses to the questions, so thoughtful. And yeah, just for being open, really appreciate, more than I can express, I appreciate the work that you put into our time together. And I know Yolanda had to log off already, but I'm still blown. That the poem was amazing. That's one piece too. I need to go back to the recording because I want to be in that moment again. That was amazing. So if Yolanda does hear this, I do really want to thank her as well for opening up herself and sharing that poem with us. That was special. Yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, and just for everyone who stayed on with us for the evening, for the night, for the midnight, for some people, thank you for spending time, for asking questions, for your presence, just being in the space with us, with the young panelists that we had today. Just really appreciate your being here and your time with us. Yeah, and our ISLET partners, I know I'm going on, I can go on forever, but yes, for our ISLET partners who are here, definitely appreciate your time too, and all of your investment throughout the project. Okay, I'm gonna stop myself because I'm gonna keep going. But but yeah, so if you get a chance, you can fill out the evaluation. If you want to reach out, I think many of you know how to find us. You can find us on Facebook. If you have my email, you're welcome to email me as well. Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is it. Unless, yeah, I think this is it. This will be it. Yeah. All right. Thank you all. Thanks, everyone.
Beautiful job. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lynette.
And congratulations.
Yeah, thank you all.
Alright.
Jadi so
Thank you all.
kalangan mahalo kompon kamekar
Don't forget us.
did I miss? Kosra.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Now we want people.
Jujus, makasih. From Guam.
Right. Come here. Hi, everyone.